Let's talk about Alex Murdaugh, the sequel, if there is another trial here, and what we may see there. What I am wondering about, and I'm curious to get your, and this is just all pure conjecture from us. There's nothing that's come out that's like, ooh, maybe they'll go down this road. But I am wondering if they're going to go with a third party culprit theory on this, which they never did in the first trial. They just said it wasn't him. Obviously that didn't work. I mean, would they possibly? I could see them entertaining that. I think a lot of us on the sidelines were going, well, even if it wasn't him, he certainly knew about it. He had some sort of involvement, or this was a horrible shakedown, like a mob hit. I'm going to kill your family, but not you. Something like that.
Right.
I'm wondering if they would go down that road, or if there's even any sort of evidence to go down that road with.
It's a interesting question, but yeah, I mean, you've got to look if you're the defense, and I have no idea if Griffin and Poot would be the two guys handling it again.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that they would, depending on money. I mean, they got to get paid,
sure.
especially for a trial of that magnitude. But you're looking at what happened the first time. You're sitting down with Murdoch and saying, "Okay, that didn't work.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're not, I know you thought you'd be able to talk your way out of it. You didn't. As a matter of fact, many people feel that you testifying is what made your bed for the conviction. So I would look at that, Alec, and
Hmm.
come to the conclusion that you are not going to testify during this trial. And then, yeah, I think that you have to seriously look at, like, if not him, it had to have been a third party culprit, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's like it's one or the other. It's either him, and like I took a lot of heat for it, even though like it seemed like people didn't understand the concept that if Murdoch is the guy who hired two bumbling fools or whatever to come onto the property in order to kill his wife and his son, and he's the person who paid them, it's as if he pulled the trigger, which has
sure.
always been my theory.
Yeah.
Like my theory has always been, and that he said once that he was in the house, he knew it was happening, and that once it was done, he's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to handle the guns. I'm not letting you fools. We're
Hmm.
going to use guns that are from the property. My son's leaving guns all over the place all the time. I'll figure that side of it out, and but I'm going to handle the guns. I'm not allowing two knuckleheads out there wandering around with the murder weapons that can be tracked back to the crime.
Hmm.
So I'm going to handle it, which he did. He handled the weapons, and got rid of them. So I think that that's what they have to lean in. Now they're going to abandon the concept of what I think actually happened is that he did get a couple of knucklehead addicts to come onto his property. He gave them, some kind of signal,
Hmm.
and then because like that's just the way that played out to me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like in terms of him being there, it went a little longer than he thought. He had no clue that they were going to be able to establish a time of death from Paul's phone, which was groundbreaking. Really, it's the first time I've ever seen where they really did establish a time of death by using the time that Paul's phone stopped
Yeah.
operating
Yeah.
because the battery wasn't charged. Wherein they went back and used Paul's history and say this is when he throws down a charger.
Yep.
Like he doesn't sit out there and allow his phone to die. And he had plans that evening. There's no way that he would have just allowed his phone to die.
Hmm.
So like he didn't know that the video had been taken, down at the kennels, and he didn't know that they were going to be able to do that in terms of establishing that timeline. So like in his mind, he thought he had plenty of time. He's like, okay, well, like I'm going to leave the property at whatever, a little after 9, make the drive out to my mom's, go in, lay in bed with her, let people see me. I'm clean. I'm clearly, like
Yeah.
in his mind, like to me, logically, that's what makes the most sense.
Hmm.
It really does. So, but again, like they can't use that because
Yeah. It's
then
still,
he's just as guilty
yeah.
as if he pulled the trigger. So they'd have to like ignore all that part, and which changes the game for Creighton in terms of Waters that say, okay, well, if they're going to go with that it was two other dudes, well, then he hired him,
Hmm.
but I think Creighton will stick with that. Alec was the trigger man.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't know about that. I like that part of it was always like as big of a sleazeball, horrible human being that guy is. I mean, like you just can't deny the fact that he was definitely a family man.
Hmm.
He valued his people. I don't know. and I don't know him from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but like yeah, I can only filter things through my own mind, and I'd never be capable of doing that
Sure.
ever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like I am a family man. I cherish
Hmm.
the people that I love, and but who knows, man? You know, so
I mean,
it definitely has enough elements to like, or I think the result will be the same, but I think it'll still be an appointment trial to
oh,
watch
without a
because
doubt. Yeah.
like
I
there's
mean,
going to be, it's not going to
yeah.
be the same trial.
I
Like I think that, I think at that point, like Creighton will realize that he doesn't have to put on 3 weeks of the financial crime shit
mhm.
on the front end. I think that he'll slice that down considerably, and and he'll be able to really kind of to get this thing to where it's a real tight ship in
Yeah.
terms of the case that he's going to put on. So I don't anticipate it'll be as long. I think that the defense will probably get rid of like, well, they'll get rid of the two gray boys, the miniature gray boy shooting
Mhm.
theory,
Yeah.
that video that the defense used, that demonstrative evidence, and they'll probably try to get a little better demonstrative evidence done, in terms of, because like my thing when I was watching that video, I'm like, okay, well, what about just taking a knee? That puts you
Well,
right at the right place.
exactly. That's exactly what one could do. It's not, two short people that
Right. He went and found two Oompa Loompas.
yeah.
He went to Charlie's Willy Wonka's factory and recruited a couple of Oompa Loompas to do the shooting. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
So
I
it'll be
mean,
interesting.
reality can sometimes be stranger than fiction. Wouldn't that be quite a case if we did find out he did
The Oompa
hire
Loompa
two
defense.
short
Yeah.
people that that committed this crime, and it was
Yeah.
all that's like truly what took place. There obviously is a lot of people that don't like Alec Murdaugh. He screwed over tons of people. So I mean, there is, I think, some argument to be made that there's people that may want him dead or may want to harm him or hurt his family to
Question.
get
No
back at him,
question.
and that could create some reasonable doubt. But again, if you go down the road of the financial crimes and stuff, obviously that's, I think, one of the big things that sunk him the first time. But could it actually help him a second time of like going, look, I'm a horrible person. I screwed all of these people over. There's tons of people who hate me. Somebody, I don't know who, but somebody came and did this because they
Well,
hated me.
the defense, in order to do that, would have to be able to prove that they had knowledge that they had officially been screwed. Because remember, the
Yeah.
testimony was there is that he was absolutely a pro
Mhm.
at being able to just simply put his clients at bay
Yeah.
by just giving them excuses. Oh, this is what's going on. Like the defense would have to be able to put on evidence that somehow some of his clients became aware of the fact that he had in fact stolen their money.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That they were like, otherwise that thing falls short, right? I mean,
Sure.
like no one can have a motive to kill somebody for
If they don't know.
them, like feeling, oh, this guy stole all my money, if they don't know that he stole the money,
Yeah.
because like clients in cases realize that these things can take forever. I mean, that like they'll talk to their friends. They're like, yeah, civil cases can take a long time before you see money. I mean, they do. Sometimes people wait 6, 8, 10 years to get paid on
Sure.
civil cases. So they can drag. So they'd have to be able to establish that. I don't know if they can or not,
Yeah.
but yes, certainly if they're able to establish that somebody or multiple clients had actual knowledge that the guy was stealing their money, then yeah, then that becomes like, because for these folks, this was their entire life.
Mhm.
They were absolutely relying on this money. I mean, some of these people had injuries that were catastrophic, that
Yeah.
they needed the money in order to be able to get the medical care or like treatment that they needed. And you know that is the kind of thing that could motivate somebody to want to kill somebody for
Yeah.
sure,
Without a
but
doubt.
got to
Yeah.
be able to prove it like everything else.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fascinating when this happens. If this happens, I'm going to bet that it will. But yeah, round two for Alec Murdaugh. Wow.
Sure, yep.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.